Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Lilia Parks.
And I'm Austin Mickey. A body found dead at Springfield West Railroads.
And Springfield police are still hunting for vandals.
Aubrey Jackson is here with your forecast, and Titus Smith has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Right now we have our weather anchor to give us a first look at the weather.
Thanks, Lilia. Let's take a look. It was rainy this morning, so let's see if that sticks around for the rest of today. We can see our current conditions are cloudy and 53, and going outside this morning, you did see we did have some rain and hail last night. The humidity is down from the previous weeks to 89% versus those 90s that we've been having, but those winds have risen to 17 miles an hour moving southeast, so be prepared for some more wind today. We can see our conditions for today are going to be rainy with the high of 58, so that rain is going to stick around, but we'll hear more of that on my full forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Aubrey. You know, Austin, I can say that I'm not super excited for the cloudiness and the rain.
No, me either. And the hail this morning?
Come on.
Quite the wake-up call.
For real.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll know more in just a little while during Aubrey's full forecast.
On Monday afternoon, 4 cars caught fire at a used car sales shop in West Springfield. The Springfield Fire Department says crews were sent out to the intersection of West Mount Vernon Street and South Lexington Avenue for what was labeled as a grass fire around 5 p.m. When they got there, though, firefighters found 4 cars on fire, as well as the grass. The cars were junk cars in the back lot of a business and were a total loss. Fire crews spent about 45 minutes on the scene and used about 2,000 gallons of water. Fire officials say the fire most likely started when the son of the owner of the shop was burning trash in a burn barrel about 30 minutes before. Luckily, though, no one was injured. Monday and Tuesday afternoon, students were interviewed to be possible candidates for Mr. EU in the student union. They were asked multiple questions that will determine if they are capable of possibly becoming the next winner. This event will be a pageant-like competition with multiple rounds, including formal wear, talent, Q&A, and wild card. Whoever claims the Mr. EU crown during the competition on Tuesday, March 26th, will win an incredible prize.
It's like a lot of fun. I didn't get to do it because I was on the baseball team, but this year, me and my buddies, there's about 8 of us sitting in our apartment. We live off campus, and we got an email from Christy, and they're like, well, which one of us should do it? And they all pointed at me, so I don't know if I'm ready for it, but hey, here I am, ready to go.
Mr. EU is a show hosted by Activities Board where we get a bunch of men on campus and they compete in various challenges like a talent portion or questions or just anything, and it's just a great time. People come out and they just watch these men of valor put themselves out, and everyone, it's a fan favorite. It's a classic of the Evangel campus, and we hope you all can come out.
Mr. EU is a long-standing tradition that involves Valor men competing to become the man on campus.
Evangel University had a special guest on campus this week to talk about emerging technology. With more on that story is Kaylin Tilley.
Dr. Derek Sherman, a professor of computer science at Calvin University in Michigan, was welcomed onto Evangel University's campus on Tuesday. Evangel's Department of Natural and Applied Sciences hosted 2 lectures about artificial intelligence, both of which were led by Dr. Sherman. During his lectures, Dr. Sherman covered the creation of artificial intelligence as well as explored the different beliefs that people have about AI.
Worldview sort of informs how we see AI and how we approach AI. And so my lecture explored different competing worldviews and presuppositions that inform our approach to AI. The one quote that I sort of left the students with was this one from Alistair McIntyre, who's a famous philosopher, ethicist, who once said that we can't really determine what we ought to do until we answer the prior question of what story are we a part. And so in my second lecture, I'm going to be talking about the biblical story and thinking about how the biblical story informs our work with AI and our use of AI and its place, and as a good starting point for thinking about what responsible Christian participation looks like in that particular cultural area.
Both lectures had a great turnout with students, professors, and even some local pastors gathering to learn more about AI.
Interesting lecture, and I'm really happy that I attended it. He had a lot of insight on artificial intelligence and how it'll affect us in the future.
Dr. Sherman said he was delighted to get the invitation to come speak on the topic of AI, as well as gain the chance to engage in further conversation with people at the lectures.
Technology is something that's always changing, so it's important to stay informed. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Kaylin Tilley.
In 2020, Governor Ron DeSantis signed the Individual Freedom Act, also known as the Stop Woke Act. This act was intended to prevent public school teaching or mandatory workplace activities that suggest a person is privileged or oppressed based on their race, color, sex, or national origin. This law was challenged by 2 employers in Florida who wanted to require diversity inclusion training for their staff. Enforcement of some parts of the law that specifically dealt with corporate training were blocked by a federal judge in response to this. On Monday, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the lower court's ruling that part of the law infringes on the free speech rights of employers. The governor's office is reviewing its options as to any appeal. Up next, Springfield police are still on the hunt for vandals in the area.
And we'll have a special guest come to talk more about Evangel University's Spring Fling event. We'll hear more about that when we get back from this break.
We can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seats for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
What a disaster.
You're a disaster.
This is a disaster.
You can't be ready for every little disaster, but you can prepare for a big one. Make an emergency plan today.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Springfield police are looking for 3 vandals targeting commercial businesses, and they need your help tracking them down. Springfield Police Sergeant Michael Carnes commented that Springfield is no stranger to vandalisms or property damage, and vandals often target the same area. The vandalisms in this case have all occurred at the industrial business on Pythian Street on the east side of town. Investigators say 3 people are wanted in connection with 6 different vandalism and theft cases at the location, dating back as far as 9 months. The department has released surveillance pictures of the trio to get the public's help in identifying them. They also believe a maroon truck has been used during their crime spree. The damage loss is up to a substantial amount, and the officers are hoping to catch the culprits before more damage is done. If you have any information regarding the vandals, you are urged to call the Springfield Police. Lilia Parks is standing by with a special guest. Lilia?
Thanks, guys. Today we have Elise Peter, the AB director, here to talk about the upcoming Spring Fling event at Evangel University. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course.
So you recently announced the theme for Spring Fling. Could you tell us more about that process and how you chose that theme?
Yeah, so typically Harvest Fest and Spring Fling tend to be a really similar event, both being variety shows with acts around campus and sketches and videos written about the theme. that AB produces. But this semester, we wanted to try something a little bit different and kind of break the norm of what we typically go with. So we've taken our favorite segments of late night TV. The way I've liked to describe it is it's a hybrid of Jimmy Fallon and SNL combined to make something a little bit fresh.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I'm a big fan of SNL. And so when you're going in and creating this idea of combining late night talk shows, what's been your favorite part about planning this newer event?
Honestly, just like exploring new territory that we haven't really reached before. I think my favorite part is just like the freedom that we've given our members on AB instead of sticking to like one really rigid theme like books or nostalgia or something like that. They just have like a whole world to discover just within, you know, the restraints that a late night show allows. So just like looking back at what James Corden might do or Jimmy Kimmel and like getting to pick and choose our favorite parts has been really cool.
Right. This event sounds like it's going to be awesome, but who can attend Spring Fling?
Anyone can attend Spring Fling. You can actually buy tickets on Connect ahead of time for $5, but like if you wanted some people from outside of Evangel to come, they're welcome to come. They just would have to buy their ticket for $7 at the door.
Okay. So where does Spring Fling take place and when is it?
Yes, so Spring Fling is April 13th, that's a Saturday, and we're having it right here on Evangel's campus in Spence Chapel. So it's gonna be really good.
Sounds very fun. So who can kind of like get involved with Spring Fling? Like maybe on the sketch team or kind of planning it for future events?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're having interviews in late April to bring new people onto AB's team. So if anybody's interested, just keep a lookout for our PR. Way you can do that is like keep an eye on our page on Evangel Connect or follow our Instagram.
Yeah, very fun. What are you looking forward to most coming Spring Fling Day?
Oh man, honestly, just spending time with the people in AB. I'm pretty good friends with most of them at this point, so it's a long day, but it's so worth it in the end, and just because you get to spend that whole day with people that have like worked really hard on this event and getting to see like the fruit of that with people attending and you know, seeing these people's talents just on display is just really, really cool.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be really cool to kind of see people apply themselves in a different way than they have in other events.
Absolutely.
Does Spring Fling differ from Harvest Fest in any way? And what was the process of creating that differentiation?
Yeah, absolutely. So normally they're pretty much the same event, but with different themes every semester. But this semester it's going to look a little bit different. Normally we have an intermission in the middle. It's like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour show, but we're condensing that a little bit. Same amount of content, pretty much, but we'll have like some interviews. We'll have a musical guest instead of a couple different bands from around campus. We'll have a house band, like a normal late night show. So it's gonna be a new experience that we haven't really seen before on campus. So I think it'll be worth it to come.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's just gonna be completely different than it ever has been before. That sounds very exciting. How do you take an idea for like an event or like a sketch or a game from the idea to the actual performance during Spring Fling? What's that process like?
Yeah, so for example, one thing that we really love is like carpool karaoke. So we take that concept and we kind of write a loose script around it, and then we kind of ask around to see like who would you want to see from Evangel's campus in carpool karaoke. And we task someone on our video team to write, film, and edit that. And we have a video team that like comes around them and supports them and adds to it. So it's really just like a culmination of a lot of hard work and creativity.
Yeah, this event sounds like it's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited to see all the ideas come to life that we've talked about today. Thank you so much for being here, Elise. It was great to learn more about the details of Spring Fling.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the desk with Aubrey and Austin.
Thanks, Lilia. So Aubrey, what can you tell us about the weather for the rest of the week?
Well, it looks like that rain is kind of sticking around for a few days, but we'll learn more about that in my full forecast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Police say 6 people suffered injuries in a crash involving an SUV and a Springfield public school bus. The crash slowed traffic at the intersection of Campbell Avenue and Plainview Road around 3:30 p.m. on Monday. Police say the driver of the SUV was hospitalized with injuries. The 5 victims on the bus suffered minor injuries, according to SPS. There were 35 students on the bus. Families of those students have been notified. Police say the cause of the accident was because the driver of the SUV ran a red light, hitting the bus. You know, Austin, that just sounds so tragic to me.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. And I feel like the weather right now is kind of reflecting how this kind of like dark news at the moment.
Yeah, it's been kind of gloomy recently.
Yeah, and maybe the weather will start to get better, but Aubrey, what can you tell us about that?
Well, let's talk about that rain that's coming in. We can see our current conditions are cloudy and 53, and with that rain that we had last night, the grounds were pretty wet, so the precipitation has risen a considerable amount. While the humidity has gone down, the winds have gone up substantially, moving to 17 miles an hour, moving southeast. So be prepared for some more of that wind coming. And we can also see that our conditions for the rest of today, the rest of Thursday, it's going to be rainy with the high of 58. So that humidity and the temperatures and pressures are going to stay around the same, but that wind is also going to stay the same. So with that rain will come the wind. So it is a good day to stay inside and watch the rain from perhaps a fireplace or a cozy place indoors. For today's almanac, we can see we have a low of 52 and a high of 58, so not much differential in those temperatures, unlike many of the weeks that we've had in the past. So it is going to stay in the mid-50s for today. And we can also see that the average temperatures are around 34 to 56, so we are much warmer than what we've had this week in years past. So with those higher temperatures, it is a surprise to many that the rain will come in, but it will be around those same temperatures in the 50s with that rain. We can also see that the precipitation is 0.12%, which is considerably higher than what we've had in the past days. We can look at the precipitation monthly and see that the 0.04 on average is about 0.7% different than what we've had. So it's much lower. And then With this number, we can see it is going to rise so much higher in these next few days and these next few weeks. So March is going to get much more precipitation than what we can see we've already gotten in this previous week. We can also see the sunset is at 6:13 p.m., so much later than what we've been expecting these last few weeks. So we can definitely see that spring is winning that battle over winter slightly, bringing in that rain, but also bringing in more sun. For today's satellite, we can see some of that precipitation moving towards the east. We can see this level of it moving closer down south this way and east this way, so it will directly hit our Springfield area. We can see the Springfield area with that more direct precipitation down south in southern Missouri, and it is going to be more compact for our area versus other areas around us further down south. It is moving from the west closer to the east, so it is going to hopefully pass in these next few days, but it is substantially covering our Springfield area. Now let's take a look at our radar. For our radar, we can see that precipitation that we just discussed. We can see that the Missouri area is completely covered by that precipitation that we've been expecting, and different areas of that storm are affecting different areas of the country. Speaking nationally, we can see that many areas, not just Springfield and not just Missouri, are affected, and many places, including Denver, South Dakota, Oklahoma, and many more, will have that precipitation storm moving on through their areas. Specific to our Springfield area in Missouri, we can see that moving from the west to the east will directly affect our area and bring in more of that rain and even possible hail that we saw last night closer to our area, and then moving past as it moves further east towards the Kentucky and Tennessee states. Now for our Missouri high temperatures, we can see that stagnant 50s that we've been talking about. For the area that we've been mentioning, it's going to be about 60 here in Springfield, about a 55 in Kansas City, a 56 in Columbia. Now this one is slightly zoomed out, so we can see other states that are similar in these temperatures. For example, Springfield, Illinois is also at a 57, so that's pretty even for all the areas around us. So we're going to stay about those 50s and 60s throughout the entire week. For our national forecast, we can also see that precipitation moving in waves. We can see that cold front moving down with that precipitation moving in our area. So it's here in Kansas City, Oklahoma, and it will continue moving with these cold fronts towards our Springfield area, and it will be stagnant there for a few days. We can also see more precipitation in other areas around, especially further east. So as that moves from the west to the east, be prepared for more rain. For our 6-day forecast, you can see just the rain that we were talking about, as well as those 50s to 60s temperatures. For the rain today, we have a low of the 35 coming this Friday with the high of 60, and then a drastic drop coming this weekend. So it will be slightly below freezing for those low temperatures, so be prepared for that, but it will slightly rise as we get closer to the end of next week. For example, Tuesday and Wednesday, we can see highs of 70s, so those temperatures will continue to rise despite that drop we see this weekend. That's it for Weather Watch today. I'm Aubrey Jackson. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Aubrey. So Lilia, this weather isn't exactly ideal for the students who are about to go on spring break.
Yeah, it looks like it could be gloomy and chilly for some of their travels.
I know, but it seems like the temperatures are at least gonna start to rise, so that'll be nice.
Yeah.
And just around the corner, Titus Smith will be here to give us the latest in sports.
This and more when we return.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
A mathematics professor at Evangel University is changing lives and surpassing incredible milestones. Dr. Don Tosh recently gave his 500th blood donation to the American Red Cross. Donors are typically only allowed 6 whole blood donations per year. However, through apheresis, they may give blood 24 times per year. Apheresis is a process in which the blood is centrifuged, platelets are removed, and red blood cells are returned to the donor. An interesting thing about apheresis is the recipients of these blood donations tend to be leukemia patients. According to American Red Cross data, less than 1% of donors have ever given 500 plus units of blood, which equates to approximately 5,000 people in the US. Tosh started donating blood shortly after he moved to Springfield, Missouri in 1987 and has been donating regularly ever since. Tosh has remained humble after achieving this incredible milestone. He stated that blood donations are selfless gifts since the recipient doesn't know who the donor is and cannot repay the gift. The math professor continued to say that as a Christian, he really enjoys helping people at difficult times in their lives, and he encourages everyone to donate blood if they are able. So Lilia, that's a really amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment that can help so many people. Titus, are there any awesome accomplishments like that in the world of sports?
Yes, there was. Susanna Blackwell has been named the KCAC Women's Golfer of the Week. She was able to help Evangel claim a second-place finish in the 4HIM Classic and placed 5th overall. Her overall score was a 14 after everything was said and done, which was the top mark of any of the other NAIA golfers at the event. Additionally, her lowest round, round 2, was only a 76. In other news, Evangel University has announced their 2024 Athletics Hall of Fame class, with volleyball coach Mary Whitehead as the highlighted honoree. Whitehead has won the most volleyball games in Evangel history. She is also being joined by softball's Wendy Neighbor and the football standout Eric Black. At the event, the 1984 football team will be honored with the Evangel Legacy Award. The banquet will be held Friday, September 20th at 6 p.m. In national news, St. Louis Cardinals pitcher Sonny Gray may miss his opening day game due to a minor right hamstring injury. Thankfully, the MRI scan suggests that this will not be a lingering injury. Nevertheless, the Cardinals will be watching him closely to ensure a good recovery. If Gray is not able to participate in the opening game, Miles Michaelis is the most likely candidate to take his place. In other baseball news, former Major League Baseball MVP Steve Garvey has advanced from the Republican primary to the general election for the California U.S. Senate seat. The position was previously held by Dianne Feinstein and was held around 30 years. Now he faces Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, and Garvey is hoping to follow in the footsteps of other sports stars like him who turned politicians, such as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Burgess Owens. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Titus. That was some pretty exciting sports news. I didn't know that about Susanna and winning the golf or placing second with their team at golf. That's really exciting.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I think it's also cool the turn from sports to politicians. Sounds really interesting.
And we'll have more interesting news coming up. And when we get back, Miami Beach is breaking up with spring breakers.
And Aubrey is with us for one final look at the forecast. All of this when we return.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We had this like deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
We're coming up on the spring break season, but not everyone is super excited. The city of Miami Beach is breaking up with spring break to avoid rowdy crowds and drunk public displays. Officials released a video announcing stricter rules for college students and tourists during this month. These regulations will include curfews, road closures, DUI checkpoints, and more patrols. Some beach access points will also be closing early on certain nights last year. Last year, the city saw 2 people die in back-to-back shootings. These precautions aim to keep spring break fun while increasing safety. You know, Austin, it sounds like Miami is having some trouble with their spring break, but hopefully some good weather for spring break as well.
Yeah, definitely hoping some good weather for us too. Aubrey, what can you tell us about that?
Well, let's take a look at this spring break week. We can see that precipitation coming in, which it's a little early being March for all of that rain, but we can also see those climbing temperatures throughout the rest of the week. So don't be dismayed, it will get brighter and better. So spring break is not quite ruined and it will be great to go outside in a few days. That's it for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks so much, Aubrey. So it sounds like our spring break will be pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm looking for those sunny 70 days.
For sure. That's all for today. I'm Austin Mickey.
And I'm Lilia Parks. This has been Newswatch Today. For more on EUTV and for the latest Evangel news, go to euvalormedia.com.